Next, we're going to discuss the oboe reed, proper storage, and how to care for your reed. When you first start playing the oboe, you might receive a reed in a case like this, a small plastic case that opens, or perhaps a tube with a top that comes off the top. This is a great way to protect the reed during shipment, but we don't want to use a case like this when we store our oboe reed after playing each day. Instead, reference the pictures in the book and search for an actual oboe reed case that has slots for your reed, ribbons to hold the reed in place, and make sure that the tip of the reed is protected. These cases come in all different sizes and shapes, but they usually have a ventilation hole to allow the reed to dry, and they'll have notches to hold the reed safely in place and float the tip so that it doesn't touch anything else in the case. When we're talking about our oboe reed, the parts of the reed that we need to be very, very aware of are the tip of the reed and the opposing end, which is the cork or the staple. Now, the oboe reed is two pieces of cane folded over each other and slid down onto the top of a little metal tube and then tied together with this string and bent and aligned so that the reed sits open at the tip. The tip of the oboe reed is incredibly fragile. So anytime that you're going anywhere with your reed, you want to make sure you keep an eye on that tip of that reed to make sure it doesn't accidentally bump anything. And we always hold the reed at the cork, never above the cork where the reed could be damaged or disassembled. As the diagram shows in your book, the very tip of the reed is called the tip. The space right down the middle of the reed, you can sometimes see if you hold it up to the light, is called the spine. There are two sides of the reed called the windows, and in between all of those spots, right between the tip and the spine, is a spot called the heart of the reed. Down the edges of the side of the reed are called the rails. Then you have the bark right before you get down into the string. Then you have the string of the reed, and finally the cork or the staple. When we prepare our reed to play, we'll soak our reed in water for about 1 to 2 minutes using a reed cup. And after we soak the reed, we'll want to make sure that we don't continue to soak the reed so that reed does not get waterlogged. You want to fill your reed cup about halfway so that when you place the reed inside of the cup, the water only comes up just above the edge of the string. We'll place the reed in the cup and let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes, ensuring that we keep an eye on it so that it doesn't fall or break. Once the reed is done soaking, as this one already is, we take the reed out and we want to make sure that we get any excess water out of the reed by gently blowing in the back cork side of the reed. That will make sure that when you go to play, you don't get any gurgling sounds. Now, after we've made our first sound, to store the oboe, you'll once again want to make sure you get rid of any extra water or moisture inside of the reed by blowing gently through the cork side. That reed then goes back in your oboe reed case, clipped into one of those notches, and floated so that the reed can dry as it aerates so that we don't grow mold or any other nasty things in our case.